Hi.
Oh, good.
Hi, Megan.
Hello.
Do we have audio going here? Okay. I'm not hearing anyone yet.
Is your audio on? Your says mute on your
Where?
on your
That's on.
must be on. Testing. Give a shout if you can.
Please tell me I can hear. Oh, Megan's muted, so.
I'm right here.
She is.
There
Okay,
we go.
good.
Hello.
Got a little nervous
So
of
where
our
were
sound.
we?
Well, I just got out of an hour phone call.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Care to share, or is that
That's
for another
kind of
time?
like unlike you. Our
Just trying to explain how things always go before a subcommittee, before they are approved. And then we discuss the details of how much something might cost. And, you know, all the details of whatever it may be, you know, anything over $10,000. And then it goes before the council to get approved.
Wow.
Okay, Lindsay's coming in. All right. Hi, Lindsay.
You see who you need. You see who you need to see before
Hey.
the meeting.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, how are you all?
Good.
Great. How are you?
Good. I've got a lot going on behind me, so I'm gonna leave my camera off.
Oh,
Okay.
that's okay. So right now we are in a meeting. We have more coming in here. We have this Autumn. We'll say hello to her, but right now we are, if we were to have just these 4 attendees, we'd have a 15-minute city orchestration right now. So we have our District 2 Councilwoman Megan Shramsky is joining us. And District 2 is our focus. Lori is in the middle right now of purchasing a site, a historical site. I don't know, Lindsay, if you saw the 15-minute city video we produced with Placemaking US. And one of the sites that we went to was Lori's
Pontiac Welcome House.
Pontiac Welcome House, as she's calling it right now, but I think it's
Okay.
going for a name change. And so I'm going to go into our planning board. Should I just go into that right now?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you're all no video, we don't have to change. So here, everyone can see the screen there.
I see. I see it.
Okay, good. So the focus of parking day has been to, in the past, well, I'll just go through our little, yeah, in the past, hi, Autumn.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you. We've not met each other yet, but I saw you joined in. Did you get it through the Oakland University early childhood group?
My boss at Center for Success actually sent this to me. I just took over the director position at the Pontiac location of Center for Success. So she forwarded it to me and told me to join and introduce myself and everything like that.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also a teacher in PSD as well. So we got all the things going on. I'm a teacher by nature though.
Awesome.
Love it. Our main focus is K through 12 in cities and project-based learning and utilizing this platform we're doing here for K through 12. So we'd love to talk with you a little bit more about that in the future. And then if there's any insights from this parking day, let us know. We would love to facilitate kids in designing their own downtown experience. That's been a big push of ours is we have a very child unfriendly downtown. And we think that that's kind of a death blow to the future of the city. If you don't have kids if you don't have kids in your downtown.
Yeah,
And
that
so-
would be awesome. That would be, we run an after school. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Center for Success at all, but we run
Yeah.
an after school literacy program. And we do a lot of enrichment where we bring in STEM and cooking and arts and crafts. So like planning a project with the kids in our space after school to have downtown would be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Can we make it this
Yes.
year? By
You think
September
we-
17th?
Yeah, are you a flex organization, agile? Can you roll that fast with something like that, or do you-
Possibly, yeah. If we want to schedule a meeting another time, or even now, like after
yeah.
we're done with this, I think so. We don't start, our program starts October 4th and it runs through May 27th, and then we do a summer program as well.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we'll follow up more in depth with that, but that's definitely part of this conversation here.
What is your age group?
We service kids right now, 1st grade through 6th grade. We just expanded to 6th grade. My intention is to service kids preschool to 6th grade over time. We're working on bringing in like an early literacy mom and tot type of thing into our building. So I think we're trying to expand, but right now it's 1st through 6th.
Great,
1st
perfect.
through 6th, wow.
Yeah, we have some experience with that age group, and they're just really good at sticky notes and such in the process that we go through to help design and imagine the project. So we're gonna send you a video of them doing that. so
Yes.
You can relate that.
And this was a little street activity, and it just happened very naturally. This was for our second parking day, and I was just getting ready to go through like a little history of our parking days, and how, you know, we started out. This was our first one in 2017, and you can click through these are videos and clickable links, but that, if you can see in the background there, that's something LTU's a professor from LTU did a design parklet there. And then on our side over here, we had Pontiac's on Time Bank and the Pontiac Public Library. This is Council President Kermit Williams, and we had a DJ on the street, and it was just very small. But our downtown doesn't typically facilitate this kind of organic, creative execution. And so, you know, we had sidewalk chalk going on, and it just turned out really powerful, and it had a real impact on people that participated and getting them to experience their downtown in a different way. And this was the second year. We had a lot more, you can see these kind of logos, a lot more community grassroots support. And these are the kids doing their little street activity, and Ulsa did a parklet, which was really fun. And the third year we did a planning session leading up to placemaking week. We gave a program at the 3rd International Placemaking Week in Chattanooga. And so we used Parking Day to kind of develop that program and around walkable streets and how it might connect with Chattanooga's Innovation District. And then last year, of course, that was a video conference. We video conference with kids at Oakland Family Services that helped design our park, which ended up getting a Kaboom grant for $56,000. And then the next year was all virtual because of the pandemic. And so we had Kaboom, we had leadership from Kaboom talking, and we are actually using this board. This is a video here, but we're on this board right now. It was Oakland University's Global Cities program. We were talking about the Phoenix Center. We had Ulsa attend. Janice Smith from Early Childhood gave a talk about what they do, and Friends of the Pontiac Parks. So it was, you know, just getting all of the groups together into a conversation that, you know, if we were working more collaboratively on projects together, things that would activate our downtown. And then this year, oh, and we also had Placemaking US with us last year. And then this year, we just got off of hosting Placemaking US on their 50 city road trip tour, and got them to stop in Pontiac. and we're working with them on a couple of different projects. And so that was just a little rundown of years past, and more importantly, we're interested always in the future here and designing, and Lindsay can talk about that. Lindsay Oliedes is with us. We have Councilwoman Megan Shramsky. I was just going over about a 15-minute city execution, and she's in District 2, which is where we're going to highlight our activities connecting the downtown to District 2 in a walkable, bikeable fashion. And so this is the 15-minute city diagram. And that's pretty standard. Like it's the simplest way to say it is, can you get your needs met within a 5 to 15-minute walk or a bike ride?
And we happen to be a food desert. So
We're Pontiac, as you're aware, I'm sure, is a food desert. And so we're interested in what the shift of work from home and digital learning and learning from home, how that impacts a more localized, hyper local execution and in creating more demand for services in neighborhoods.
I could tell you, like, if I can chime in just for a second, as a teacher who did the virtual thing and worked from home, the food like insecurities and housing insecurities and you name it has just like quadrupled. It's been a lot this year. I feel like I've done a lot more like dropping off clothes and food and water and things like that than the teaching aspect of what I do.
Yes. And that is where there's no easy solutions to that, but we're hopeful. Last year, we were hopeful that, having OLSA tied in and, there as the largest human services provider. And then now this year we have trillions of dollars that's designed for distressed communities. And so one of our intentional elements for this parking day is, how do we use a broader planning structure, like say a 15-minute city, or if anyone else has ideas, we think that's a great framework that addresses a number of things. How do we align federal resources and all of these investments coming? How do we get them into the most productive and beneficial channels? And having your intelligence connected to the communities that you serve is invaluable. And any way we can help align that, because if the money is not set to a plan, it's liable to be blown.
it will be spent.
It'll be spent.
Question on what and for what?
On what, for what is the challenge at hand here. So there's some, community advocacy work that needs to take place,
Sure.
ideally in alignment with this kind of data. And Lori, are you here?
Yeah, I was on mute.
Can you talk?
Can you give a little overview of what you're doing at the Welcome House and how that might connect to a 15-minute?
The transition, it's a wheel. I don't know. We're just working on just defining what it's going to look like and how it's going to work. But I'm looking to have I want an association, a club, a membership type style, a group of people that would run, support, and sustain community center. Basically, having everybody working in their special fields to help others either learn that field or make money in that field or address issues in that field. So everybody, the idea is to have a purpose. Everybody obviously has a purpose. Everybody has a purpose, kind of deciding on what they want their focus to be, and then have a basically commitment towards focusing on that. So lots of issues, lots of different ideas. And basically it's just trying to get people to collaborate with each other and work together and make progress on some of our issues that we already have and some issues that we haven't addressed. So that's about as far as we've gotten yet right now.
Well, we're going to set up some potentially with Smart Bus, some shuttle rides, some bike riding, walking activities, and we'll stop there and maybe do some design charrette around what would make that an interesting destination for people and for human services. Like, hopefully Autumn will be with us there and she can help us frame the issues that she's navigating right now as a community. Lindsay, we found this. Lindsay, could you give a little introduction into what your work is right now in design thinking?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay. I'm in the PhD program in city and regional planning at UNC Chapel Hill, and my dissertation research looks at the use of design thinking as a more inclusive and meaningful public engagement strategy. And so I'm studying the work of the incubator here in Pontiac and learning about how they're using this approach in their mobility work. And so, yeah, I'm happy to, I'm actually going to be visiting Pontiac. I'll be there in person for parking day. And I'm happy to just, help out and support and to learn from you all.
Wonderful. What motivated you to study design thinking versus typical planning?
Yeah, so prior to coming to school, I actually worked at Rails to Trails Conservancy and did a lot of community outreach in low-income communities and communities of color in DC and New Orleans and Baltimore to help raise awareness of underutilized trails. And so I had that kind of hands-on experience with public engagement. And then later as a transportation consultant, did a lot of research for the Federal Highway Administration on kind of collaborative planning processes. And so I'm just, I have seen firsthand kind of the pitfalls of conventional community engagement practices. And I'm really interested in exploring how transportation planners can do that better and more effectively and more equitably.
Wow.
Perfect.
And with the federal dollars coming, have you been studying, have you noticed any signals that those dollars are more interested in that kind of, I keep hearing resilience and adaptation and a lot of the design thinking buzzwords. Are you noticing that, or what are the challenges and opportunities with the federal investments in infrastructure?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think, so obviously, the way a lot of funding programs are structured, they're not necessarily very conducive to, more kind of creative and agile approaches like design thinking. But you're right. I do think that those buzzwords are kind of beginning to be used and kind of thrown around in the federal space. I do know of a few pilot projects at the Federal Transit Administration, and FHWA is doing a project on kind of like re-envisioning transportation demand management approaches. And so you are beginning to see this incorporation of more innovative practices. And I think as that happens, we'll be kind of forced to rethink how the funding structures can better support these types of approaches.
Wow.
And what role do you think transportation?
We're kind of having a parking day meeting like right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Jim, go ahead.
That's all right.
What kind?
The transportation side of the equation, that's so important. What role do you see that being able to influence the way in which the ARPA funding may be discharged?
Yeah, I think, that's definitely an important consideration. I haven't really given much thought to that, to be honest. Do you have any thoughts on that, Jim?
Well, I do actually. The two things come to mind, and one is, of course, the transportation is always underfunded to begin with. And then, you know, the work from home and all of that pandemic influence even reduced then the ridership and so forth and so on. And it looks as though that's going to be somewhat sustained. And I'm wondering how they're going to reach an accord there to continue to get enough funding just to continue traditional services. So I think the answer to that is somewhere lies between how we take advantage of work from home and learning from home to increase productivity at the expense of, unfortunately, transportation, which when we talk about first responders and we talk about the core of you know, distressed cities, that's really a pain point.
Yeah, and I think another important consideration is climate adaptation and mitigation as well. And I think this is also a kind of a watershed moment to really rethink how we travel and the contributions of our travel to the climate crisis.
Yeah,
Wow,
great
yeah.
point. Great point. We're inundated with you know, alphas and deltas here, and they aren't balancing. And unfortunately, I think even as we see, I want to put a special shout out to Dave Colton for making the great assertion that we need to have masks in K-12 education in Oakland County. It's going to
Yeah.
save some lives, I believe. I hate to say that, but I believe it is going to save some
Yeah,
lives.
we only had 35% of kids insured to be in a school that even required masks until yesterday.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
So to that point, and beyond the bringing into, you know, range of view the elements that are crucial to, you know, the foundation of stability, if there is such a thing anymore, that we can build on. And we just had a Zoom call this morning with a practitioner who actually got fired from her position as a teaching math professor within the context of a K-12 environment because she was too successful and it impacted their funding. And we were stunned. I mean, her success rate wasn't just marginally better, it was significantly better, like up at around 95 to 98%. And as we progressed in the discussion, it became evident that it was her reaction to the instructional model that changed everything. She actually became a disciple of asking as opposed to just telling. And in doing that, engaged the kids and allowed for them to imagine how they are receiving information and how they are using information and how they are absorbing information. And to get those kinds of test results in the Detroit School District is a significant moment. And what did she receive for that? She was fired. So we're wondering how we can bring that kind of insight into the design thinking process. And that's what we were sharing with her this morning. And she's going to look at that and see how that may be impacting and could impact the way in which she teaches mathematics and other such things. She has a strange curriculum. She uses art and design as a backdrop to teaching her mathematics class. And of course, once she mentioned that, we were really very excited. So,
Pardon me, Jim, can you speak up a little bit? I'm sorry, I'm really having a hard
Right.
time hearing you.
that's right. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you. No, sorry. It's just, yeah, I want to hear everything you have to say. It's so important. I want to hear it.
Well, those things, you know, in our estimation are, you know, core, regardless of what's happening on the end of funding and all the problems that we face. Ultimately, we get down to education, which is the key critical issue. If we're not being successful there, those other things pale by comparison. So our fundamental foundational element is targeted on education. It has been for, I don't know, a decade or two. And going back to finding out that we didn't teach science. You know, in the middle 90s, I was coming away from some stuff that I was doing with the automotive industry. And I wound up at the McMath-Hulbert Observatory in Lake Angeles, which at that point in time I thought, well, wouldn't this make an interesting informal science center? So I went out to K-12 education, Oakland schools and others, and I asked her, so we have this wonderful observatory, historically significant with the University of Michigan and such, and funded by the University of Michigan. And solar observatory happens during the day, should be perfect for education. And I was told we don't do science. And I thought, that's odd. And the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Because we don't do science. How is this possible? Going forward, it became clear that science was given a back seat. They couldn't afford the teachers that was necessary, so maybe you ended up with a literary arts teacher or an English arts teacher teaching science. And strangely enough, STEM came along because of that. I mean, the recognition finally that we don't do science was unbelievable. So here we are today, and that's like #1 on the hit parade. Get the science right, get the understanding in depth of how the world works, add a little creativity and imagination to the equation, and we might be able to figure our way out of the dynamic problems that we're facing. So we're really excited about that K-12 piece. And the pandemic just outed, I hate to say this, outed education. Not well, I might add. But I think it's from the instructional model, not from the technology sense. But if you're trying to corral a group of young people, and if you have them in a classroom, that's pretty easy to do. But if you don't have them in the classroom, you get results like 1 in 5 showed up for remote learning. 1 in 5. So it never had a chance to be successful because only 1 in 5 showed up. Anyone else have any thoughts along those lines?
I see Anita Barksdale is here. Hi, Anita.
Hi, thanks for the invite. I've been listening to the conversation. It's pretty, it's igniting. I will say that. I'm glad I joined as well because I was listening to some of the ideas and thoughts that that Autumn was talking about as well, and then where my brain went with a lot of the work that needs to be done. So
You were
starting.
doing, oops, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No,
You,
go ahead.
you were running a parent group at one point when the
Yeah, so-
pandemic first started. Are you still?
Yeah, so I kind of wear 2 hats. The first one, I'm a nurse at St. Joseph Mercy Oakland, and I work with trauma services, and we work to pretty much make safety easy for our communities. And
Mhm.
part of that making safety easy is working with the community to figure out how can we mitigate some of these risk factors for injury. So safe streets, walkable streets, bikeable streets. We're actually starting to work with Oakland County to see what that looks like.
Wow.
We've identified a school who we've done a bike rodeo with. So we want to go back and visit them and make the program a more sustainable program where, the students at that school develop healthy habits that lead into adulthood, but a lot of them aren't experiencing those healthy habits right now. So just offering that into their toolbox. And part of that would be looking at your streets, looking at your community for safety, and then getting them to think twice. We got a program called Think First, but thinking twice about their choices, their healthy choices for injury prevention, choices for healthy living, and things like that. So like I said, we've identified the school. We want the kids to help us figure out what does your walkable community and what does your bikeable community look like. And that includes, your food sources, that includes your other things that you need to live. So we talk with the kids about, what do you need to live? And the first thing that comes to mind is food. The second thing that comes to mind is family. So, are you in a neighborhood that feels like family? If you walk your neighborhood, do you feel safe enough where, that you can identify a safe house in your neighborhood? Because we used to have stuff like that. So identifying those safe houses in your neighborhood. But, we did a walk of the community to figure out where things were located. And if I wanted to go find a banana or an apple or something like that, is that within like, this is excellent. I just copied that actually, if you don't mind, but
Not at all.
having the 15 minute, bike ride or a 10-minute walk, are your resources within your area. And then is it safe to do that in your area? So that's one of the things the students spoke up about too. I don't feel safe walking in that area. So we gave them some tools, options, what they can do to help, but also ask them, what do you feel you need to do what do you feel you need to be safe in that area? What do you feel that you need to have in that area to be able to bike that area? So that's kind of what we're working on right now. But this has been a super interesting conversation. I'm just absorbing a lot of it.
Can we help you, Anita? How can we help you? And can we get you involved in the event that day? Have some
Oh,
kind of.
yeah, that would be excellent. Actually, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure, trying to just kind of hone in on what we could do to work together to offer, what we needed to pretty much figure out what parking day was, and then
You just described it.
You-
Not
you-
only did you describe it, you
just-
took it to a place
The evolution.
that we wanted to go to, which is from downtown to the neighborhood. So
Mhm.
we're seeing this going from down Pike Street, from Saginaw west up to Lori's facility and then into the community.
And
So-
maybe to Washington School, maybe Megan could
Yeah,
speak to that.
Exactly. So I'm sure we can accommodate, if we have the time to do a little programming thoughts, something that would be exciting, and you're making the kids the focus of the dynamic in terms of design. I think that's just outstanding. It's just the way it should be.
Yeah, that's
Can I
awesome.
chime in on this real quick?
Yeah.
So this sounds like something that we could partner on.
Yes.
Our
Definitely,
program,
definitely.
so
I'm super
our
excited
program
about that.
is like, we are expanding.
And then
We've
the
only been
other
in our,
hat that I wear, I do run a program. I'm the coordinator of the program for Pontiac's Stork's Nest, and it's through my sorority. It's been
Stork's
around since 1970, but the Stork's Nest has recognized that there is a disparity not only with food, but also especially in the prenatal care community. So we, through the Stork's Nest, we started by offering stuff. And what we realized is that a lot of expecting parents don't want the stuff. So we still do have a boutique as an incentive for pregnant women to join the program, but we recognize that they need the wraparound service. They kind of need they need humans. They need human touch. They need
Yes.
human empathy. They need, human presence. So we hold, well, pre-pandemic, we were holding a class every month where we gathered as a community for 2 days. And yes, they would come on Saturday and spend 8 hours Saturday and 8 hours Sunday. And we just talked. We talked about what's the journey of being pregnant? What are some experiences of being pregnant? We talked about food sources. We cooked in the classroom. So, we cooked breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner together, like with our own experiences. We also talked about budgeting and, what kind of things are you looking at for budgeting and being pregnant? Life after baby. We talked about mental health, all these buzzwords that are coming up now. We were talking about all that at a lower level, but just really talking about that. Like if I met somebody at, a store or grocery store or something, we would just stop and talk about their pregnancy journey. And I'd say, hey, why don't you come to our class and kind of share what you've been through and how things you added to your toolbox so you could kind of cope with what you're going through. So we have, women in the community who want to teach. So we offered, we're here. I'm a nurse, but I'm a cardiac nurse or I'm a trauma nurse. So only experience I have is having children, right? I've had them myself. So we had kind of have that been there, done that approach. But anyways, we did a walk of the community for that too, to see if I were pregnant and I needed to go find healthy food, how far away do I have to walk to get it?
Wow.
And we identified 3 places in the neighborhood that advertised as having healthy food, nutrition, fruits, and all that good stuff. But they actually did a survey of the store and to see, if it was actually something that would benefit the moms being pregnant. We also talk about, we have a physician that comes in. She's an excellent resource. She's the head of our OB services here at St. Joe's, but she volunteers her time on Sundays to just come in a baseball cap and jeans and just talk to the moms about, why can't I have a water birth here? Or, what test was that I just had at my prenatal care visit, or whatever. Taking time to explain the stuff that healthcare doesn't have a lot of time to explain during your visits. So we talk about a lot of that too. But during the pandemic, we recognized that, the community needed that more than ever. They needed that human connection. So we did our drop-offs. We did, just dropping off or just FaceTime, just to let the pregnant mom know you're still not going through this alone. How can we make connections? How can we connect you to the places that have what you need? So that's kind of what I do with the Stork's Nest as well, which is housed on St. Joe's campus simply because I work here and I ask for the space, but we're not connected with St. Joe's. So
Yes.
that's kind of the benefit of me working here. But yeah, so that's kind of what I do on that end as well.
And how are you funded there?
And it's all like nonprofit. Nobody's paid for anything. And it's
Wow.
just, we saw a need. I was
Wow.
a mom at some point
Right.
and decided to
We gotta find you
take the
some-
lead on it.
So-
I remember this group with Pontiac
think you're
Sun Time
muted,
Bank
or I
came
can't hear
into
you.
an
Yeah, you made a presentation to Pontiac Sun Time Bank.
Stork's Nested. Someone
Am
was
I
there at the
muted?
Stork's. It was a
Somebody did.
St. Joe's meeting, and Pontiac Sun Time Bank brought in a mother, and she told her story about going through services.
Yeah,
And
that was a couple years ago.
It was a couple of years ago. It was with OU, the OU early childhood groups.
Autumn, I think you had some comments.
Yeah, Autumn, about collaboration and how to.
Partnership and.
Yeah, so I think partnership would be great. We actually have in our building is huge. You guys are welcome to come see our facility anytime, but we have a full kitchen. We have a 2-story building, but like focus groups for kids and parents, that's all stuff that we are talking about as an organization as well. I don't know if you've worked with eCommunity before with Isha. She works with us pretty
Yes.
We know
closely.
Isha, uh-huh.
Yeah, we know Isha. We all know
Yeah,
Isha.
she's partnered with us as well. She actually she has space in our building and in our garage and things where she stores different things. So like using our space, I think for both parents and kids is something that CFS wants to do moving forward. Like that's just something that I personally am like, let's hear from the kids, let's hear from the families. What do they not have that they need? So I think, in the future, maybe this is something we talk about, at a different meeting, but I think a partnership would be really great. No one's in our building during the day right now because kids will be at school. So we just do after school with our students, and we are hoping to have 50 kids total in person. And then our goal for our virtual programming is about the same. So we're hoping to reach about 100 kids. A lot of people don't know we exist. I think that's one of the challenges in Pontiac is that people just don't know about all of the different orgs that are out there. But if we reach, 50 kids or 100 kids and you guys come in at different times to do different things, I mean, that's a lot of reach that we could have. For the community, we also use our building as during the pandemic, they used it as like a food pickup and drop off spot. And we also did meet up and eat up this summer at our building as well. So it's very multifaceted, but it sounds like, cooking healthy meals and teaching the parents how to do things. That's something that Isha really wants to do and we want to do. So maybe collectively we come together and can use our space to host events like that.
Wonderful.
We're really excited about that. We'd love to help you on your virtual programming exercise. Okay, we have some expertise in that. Are you a 501?
Yes, we are.
You are a 501. Okay. And
Were you close there? You're next to McCarroll. Did you get a different building, or is that the same building that was next to McCarroll?
We
School?
We are in the old police station right off of Rundell.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Awesome.
It's a huge space, but people don't know we exist. Oftentimes when I talk to parents about this, they're like, oh my God, I never even heard of you. This is a great program. So it's really like getting the word out that I think is collectively, like all organizations are, people don't know that we exist, and then they don't know how to ask for help. But my boss, Andrea, who's our executive director, she is someone I would bring in on a future meeting because she does all the like collaboration with a lot. We work with Micah 6, we work with Pontiac Reads, we work with a ton of different orgs. So collectively, you know, if everybody comes together, then we can use our resources best to serve our community.
Wonderful.
Terrific. Well, we'll certainly revisit this. We were intending to do an hour today. And maybe we're going to do 2 or 3 more of these before the event, just to make everyone aware that this is not a one-time execution. So maybe we can build on this as we go along, and in doing that, share with others about how to go about collaboration and bringing value to the collective as opposed to the individual, and so forth and so on.
Yes. And Councilwoman Megan Shramsky's with us. Are you with us still, Megan?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to give an overview of efforts underway in your community and how that might tie in with a 15-minute walking framework?
Well, really, I'd rather not.
Okay.
You know what I have told you previously. I just really would not wish my opponent to have any fodder or information as to what I'm doing.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're hoping to get that woven into parking day in some fashion, and we'll just work with that.
Yeah, I have a couple things
independently.
going on that may come to fruition soon. But I prefer not to give specifics.
Okay, we're in the middle of an election year, everyone
Yes.
here, so we have other dynamics to navigate.
Other dynamics? What dynamics?
Everybody has their own their things they can bring and things that they cannot bring at any given time. But Megan has a lot of authentic community engagement. I will just say I've been so impressed with your historical connection to your community and the way that you yes, conduct yourself and dig into the details and keep your head down in the work. It's really appreciated, and we're happy that you're here with us today. Anybody else have any questions? We just had our friend Devin come in. He's been a long time incubator friend.
It's a podcast.
Devin's doing an initiative with Pokemon. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with that, but that might be something we could connect with your youth groups. Devin, do you feel like talking about it? You want me to try? Putting him on the spot, sorry. But Devin and his wife Erin have always been really big into the possibilities for Pokemon of our downtown and creating walkability and those kind of things. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, more than just understanding that it's one of the few things naturally getting people to walk around downtown is, oh, okay, this camera is that it's this silly game that hundreds of millions of people like to play, and it's not being capitalized on. That's one of the only things getting people to actually interact with the downtown area. Yeah. And that there aren't any businesses hospitable to people who are doing that, who are just casually traversing the area. So it's figuring out how to get places to be more accommodating for people who are doing that and to capitalize on the bits of traffic that do come down here. Because what I notice is the exact opposite, is that there's sort of an ostracizing like vibe to it for a lot of people when they sort of just disregard that, oh, that's all they're doing is they're just playing that game as they walk down. And it could be a hot day and someone could want something to drink, and a store that would sell something to drink to somebody is closed because reasons, I don't know, because they don't respect that the traffic that is here it would be here for any reason other than solely the purpose of that business, I suppose. So yeah, that.
Can I share? I got a super funny story with Pokemon.
Awesome.
Well, I not only work with kids, but we work with injuries from birth on up to, to aging. So we were doing a senior driver event called Car Fit, where the driver would just come and get their car checked out, like you would come and get your car seat checked out for your kid. You can come and get your car checked out for, as an adult driver. And we do like measurements to see like where your seat should fit and let you know some ideas on how far you should be looking over the steering wheel and all that good stuff, all free or whatever. So anyway, we're out in the woods doing this for a community that, is not accessible to the city. So they came out to the park and and I had one driver that kept passing by. And so I finally stopped her. She was an older driver. I stopped her and I said, "Hey, are you coming to get your car fit?" And she was like, "No, I'm looking for Pokemon." So she had to be like 65 years old, but she was looking for Pokemon. She was just driving, looking at her phone. So I invited her over. I invited her over and she came and got her car fit.
Yeah,
Two people were looking for Pokemon that day, and one of them happened to join our car fit event for a senior driver. So, anyways, it works. Now you're on to something.
Serendipity. Now we have to make sure they're walking.
By the way, this is just one example. Pokemon just happens to be the most popular of these games. The company that makes them, Niantic, is they've have 3 or 4 games. I think 2 out currently other than Pokemon. One's Jurassic Park themed, and the other is a more original concept they've created. I think they're in development on another IP to make these augmented reality games where you're interacting with your own environment through your device. And I mean, I don't know if any of you actually played the game, but it's heavily integrated with your environment. There are stops that you use to get items to progress in the game, and those are landmarks that you press on in the game, and it'll bring up a picture of, say, this Crowfoot sign here, or the Phoenix Center tower. So it gets people involved in their local infrastructure as well. Like I think it's not really a scandal, but they're in press trying to make it out to be that because they had to increase the range of effectiveness to play the game during COVID because of social distancing, and they've decreased it back to where it was before. And so people are trying to make it as if they're making the game harder. Really, they just made the game exactly how it was before the pandemic started. But they do that so that you have to walk around and interact, and so that it's not so easy to just drive your car and play, because obviously that's dangerous, and they advise against that. And they even inhibit certain functions of the game if you are going too fast, because it can track your speed, so that you can't do that. So they really want you to be walking around and interacting with your environment. And it just so happens that the downtown area is lucky enough to have so many markers that were uploaded into the game. So there's, like, in terms of density for playability, it's one of the most dense areas in like all of Oakland County. And I'd be willing to bet on any given day the traffic that actually going through the downtown area is for these types of games, and not really for any other reason. I mean, I guess maybe to stop and eat at the brewery every once in a while. But yeah,
So can we expand that to the neighborhood?
yeah, well, there's a system in place in the game for people who are like dedicated players, where they can, because the functionality is everywhere. I mean, you can, the Pokemon spawn where there's at least perceived population density. And it includes neighborhoods where there's frequent activity. They monitor that sort of thing, which I think is heavily a reason why Niantic even reached out to the city of Pontiac, because they monitor the activity of the game, and they see a lot of density in this area, which is very ironic when you look around this area. But yeah, you can go out into the neighborhoods. There are still stops, and there are still all sorts of things to interact with there, just not nearly as much. So
And can you can, didn't you
But
say that you
you
can
can
enter, like
yeah, you
vote for
can-
places that should be on it, like Washington School could become something maybe, or?
yeah, if it's not already, honestly.
Right, okay,
It might already be. I haven't like tracked them all. There's hundreds, if
right.
not thousands, in just this area. So, yeah. I think my point is just, it's an unintentional lifeline in terms of traffic and activity in a place that's otherwise devoid of it. And it should be appreciated and kind of capitalized on instead of ignored. I mean, it's been around for 5 years. For 5 years, the traffic down here, so far as I know, has been heavily about this game, and there's been nothing that's remotely interacted from the businesses down here to the people walking around playing this game. And if it's an inhospitable environment for that sort of thing, then I can see, or at least understand why when a person's done, they leave. They're in and they're out for the sake of the game. And
I was just gonna say that it's a rage for a minute and then you leave.
exactly, yeah, because what else are you
Right.
gonna do?
So it's up to us and Parking Day
Yeah,
team
right. You got
to
that Parking Day
create
Pokemon.
some other nudges.
Yeah, there we go. We call it the Pokemon nudge.
Yes. I was thinking about our last year's conversation, and this is where kind of the serendipity, we didn't go over our serendipity, but that's kind of the goal of our efforts here is to create that. And we've worked really closely with a professor at OU, Annalie Campos, and she couldn't be with us today, but we're working also to develop a virtual program and want to include her in any talks we have about partnership. But last year we had a great talk with her students. We've done 7 semesters of development work with her students and bringing them downtown and connecting them with the Pokemon with Devin's initiative would be an interesting thing, but they just have so many great ideas and of what they want to see. And so they'll be participating as well. She does a program, Global Cities and Global Human Systems. So yeah, that's something we can tie in. And if that group of, we've gotten a lot of insight. This is all these sticky notes were from the students. So that's kind of our data collection point of the design thinking. The first step that we do in design thinking is collecting all this data in an immersive way and making sense out of it, and then attempting to align those things with our parking day. Oh wait, we have one more attendee, Sonia. Hi. We're gonna wrap up. We're going to be good with our time. We've got 5 minutes. Sonia, do you hear me, or let's see if she.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, I hear you.
No worries. can you give an introduction to your work?
Yeah, a quick one. My name is Slim LaDuff Malone. I work at OSA. What right now I'm a Welcome Center Service Manager. I handle the programs, the CARES program and the EFSP program, and I also do the light, which we help clients with their DTE, consumers energy, and sometimes water bills. So that's the basis of what I do in my department.
Awesome. And we were talking with Autumn from Center for Success and with Anita around her work with parents and at St. Joe's and trauma. And one of their focus is around the walkable city and doing immersive experiences of asking pregnant mothers and kids about what they want to see in a walkable downtown. And we're hopeful that we can weave ULSA into that this year again. And I guess just have that. Does that sound like something that's possible around the 15-minute city? We're gonna pick some sites that we can walk and bike to from our downtown and have maybe a downtown Hidden River Park location, but any kind of brochures or services or pop-up kind of experience that you want to facilitate, we're happy to talk with you later about that.
Okay, that sounds great. I can let my supervisors know, and maybe they can get a better feel of what, how OSA can, be a part of this, or see what type of contribution they could do, or, as far as being involved.
Yes.
Awesome. We're going into neighborhoods, we're connecting the downtown to the neighborhood going west up Pike Street. And we're attempting to have young people participate in the design of that. So anything that also may have from the summer learning program between now and September, if we could inquire about any participation from maybe the kids that are involved or engaged in the summer program, would be a great possibility, a great addition.
Okay. Yeah, I can always ask. It sounds more like the Head Start program or the PAE program with the children. So
Okay.
probably get connected to them. I believe I can probably try to reach somebody there to see if they can contact either you or Monica and see if they can you guys can explain to them further what you want. I mean, how they can go about helping.
Yep, that would be great.
Awesome.
That would be fantastic. We can do that.
Yes.
My husband's the technology coordinator over at PAE, Mr. Barksdale.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
We're done.
Yeah.
We got a virtual program going.
We have quite a lot of collaborative possibilities
Yes.
flowing through here.
All true.
I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this board. There's a lot of stuff gathered, but if you want to just scroll, you can't hurt anything. You can just click and drag through the white places there, and other places are locked. You can just click and drag. And the tips are, we don't have tips on this one, but
You'll put them in.
yeah, I'll put tips in the top left corner. And so I'm going to put it in the chat right now. If you can grab it, make sure everybody gets it. Okay, anybody have any summarizing thoughts or
Serendipitous encounters.
anything we need to think of before our next? We'll do maybe one more. Well, we'll follow up on everything that we discussed,
And
Here.
maybe have one or two more before the event.
and maybe have one or two more planning meetings before the event. Does that sound helpful, or any other? If there's any other thoughts of who else needs to become aware, or. All right.
It's
Yeah,
hard for me to see who's all here on my phone, so I'm not even sure who all isn't aware, but I saw your list of people, participants that you sent the email to, and that was a solid group of people. So,
Yeah, any feedback about the 15-minute city from them?
like I said, I can't tell who's on the
It's
line.
been,
because
we
on the
found
cell
it,
phone.
we found it kind of interesting that there's so much federal investment coming to Pontiac and haven't really heard, save Megan here on the phone, but not many candidates or elected politicians are even talking about it.
Oh, wow.
So we tried
Good
to
thing you
tag,
are.
we attempted to tag everybody, but I don't know what we. It's always a small group of people, as we always say. It's a small group of people that changes the
It's
world.
a handful.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Right.
Oh, no, we just have
A
very,
small, strong
very,
group.
very short phone conversations in this meeting. You're just very brief.
Yeah, very brief.
So it's always a handful and welcome.
Yes.
And we'll queue up for another exchange in the next 10, maybe 15 days.
Yes.
Any thoughts that you have processing wise, because you're going to go away from this and say, oh, I wish I'd please reply on an email so that we can share across and so forth. Because I know tomorrow morning, I always get mine the next day. You know, I wake up with it, and I'm never surprised at what I thought I knew that I didn't.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
And thanks everybody for
your time.
participating in all these wonderful ideas.
Thanks for all
It was
you do,
pretty good.
Monica.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Talk
awesome.
soon.
All right, see you later.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.